Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
You are listening to the TrekRanks podcast, a member of the Tricorder Transmissions Podcast Network. This is episode 100, featuring the top 5 Janeway episodes. Welcome, Star Trek fans. I am Jim Morehouse. I am the host of the TrekRanks podcast, and you can probably hear me smiling because tonight is a landmark episode of TrekRanks. It is episode 100. And for a milestone like this, we were looking for a special topic worthy of a celebration of the number 100. And I said this on the last episode. I was brainstorming a bunch of topics and just nothing quite felt right. And it hit me that we hadn't done Janeway yet. And I thought, this is the perfect time. Let's just do Janeway, celebrate 100 with the iconic character that she is. And then literally the next night, the next day after I had thought of that the night before, the Prodigy announcement came out, and they announced that Kate Mulgrew is returning as Captain Janeway, and I just was so giddy thinking, wow, that is perfect. Perfect match. We're going to get more Janeway. So really, really excited about this one. And for a special episode like this, we have 3 great guests tonight. I'm going to introduce them all at once so we can just get into it. They are all huge Voyager lovers. Charlotte Schmidt, Foz Rotten, and Shuttlepod Melanie, as we love the color. Welcome, you guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, excited to have you guys here. Char, you were with us for our 50th episode. So you are...
yes.
That's 2 big ones, 50 and 100. And Foz, this is your 2nd appearance. And Melanie, it is your 4th, I have in my notes.
Yeah.
So we got some veterans, and this one's going to be fantastic. All right, we're going to jump straight into our TrekRanks recalibration and get into this topic.
Let's start with something small, like a recalibration of the EPS manifolds.
As regular listeners will know by now, general order number 1 here at the TrekRanks podcast that we love Trek, and we love to rank Trek via some deep dive topics just to get the conversation started. And remember, it's not about the ranks, that's just an excuse to talk about Star Trek.
But what is that Vulcan motto? Infinite diversity.
In infinite combinations.
And what is diversity? A celebration of differences.
And as to Pohl and Dr. Phlox just said, TrekRanks is basically just a big old celebration of differences. There are no wrong answers at TrekRanks. It's not about being right or definitive in any way. It's just about sharing the things that we love about Trek, and we love it all, from TOS to TNG, straight through to Enterprise and the Kelvin timeline, and now Discovery and Short Treks and Star Trek Picard and Lower Decks. Wow, it's a lot to rattle off these days, and it's all fair game here on the TrekRanks podcast.
Black alert. Black alert.
And one final reminder that we use episodes as a shorthand term, but the 13 films are always in play as well. And since Janeway did make 1 Trek film appearance, Star Trek Nemesis is technically in play tonight as well.
Interface, net access, channel 90.
And you can find TrekRanks on the net access interface links at TrekRanks.com, and you can contact me directly on Twitter at TrekRanks or at Enterprise Extra. You can also call and leave us a message with your own picks at 609-512-LLAP. That's 609-512-5527. All right, Char, Foz, and Melanie, we're going to let you guys let everybody know how they can get a hold of you on the net access interface. Char.
Sure. The best place to find me is on Twitter, and my handle is the Profanity.
Potty mouth. Love it.
Very much so. Contains profanity. Warning.
Foz, how about you, man?
Hey, I'm at Foz Rotten on everything, Twitter, Instagram, and you can check out my band at Boldly Go Band on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. We are a Star Trek punk rock band, and our debut album is out now, Federation of Punks on Coffin Curse Records. Hit us up.
Fantastic. Ooh. Star Trek punk rock. What else you need to hear? Melanie, how about you?
You can find me on Twitter at Shuttlepod2, and that's TWO.
A very Star Trek Enterprise. I love those handles. All are great. Okay, let's get into our level 1 diagnostic to get into this show.
Run a level 1 diagnostic series. Come.
All right, so here we are. It's episode 100 of TrekRanks, and this is our 11th character episode, which includes, we did Kirk as our episode NX00, and we also did like a sidebar with Icheb when when Stardust City Rag dropped. We did a quick addendum to an episode for our top 3 Icheb moments to celebrate the death of Icheb. Oops, spoiler alert. Anyway, so in those 11 episodes, we have covered 4 of the major captains, Kirk, Picard, Sisko, and now Janeway, which means we still need to get to Archer at some point. And the other characters we've done are Kira, T'Pol, Neelix, Odo, and Nog. 2 episodes in memoriam for the great Renee Auberjonois and Aaron Eisenberg. So that's our recap of 11 overall character explorations. And as part of our normal character episodes, I like to ask our guests for one word that best describes that character.
The Vorth, the Kabali, the Vardwa. You've made first contact with more species than any captain since James Kirk.
It helps being the only Starfleet ship within 30,000 light years.
You are being too humble. From the first time you spoke up in my classroom, I knew you'd go far.
A little farther than I expected, Professor.
I have my Admiral hat on today, Catherine. And I didn't call just to catch up. Starfleet has a mission for you.
So, Charlene, you're up first. Without getting into your Prime Directive or anything yet, what is the one word that you would use to describe Captain Katherine Janeway or Admiral Katherine Janeway? Your choice.
That's right. I would say that the one word that best describes Captain Janeway, besides coffee, is brave.
Oh, perfect. Coffee's really good too.
I genuinely considered that, and I thought, no, I can do a little better. Let's describe her personality, her character, not her addiction.
That's pretty damn good. Brave. I love that. Foz, how about you, man?
All right. I have unstoppable.
Oh,
ooh,
that's exciting. Unstoppable. And Melanie, what was yours?
I have multifaceted.
Ooh.
Also good.
I'm interested to see how these all play into your guys' Prime Directives as well. And for me, it's kind of boring. It's just the definition is it's just too perfect for her. So I had to use it. I used the word resilient.
And no, that's good.
Yeah, the definition is able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions, spring back into shape after bending, stretching, or being compressed. So felt like that. She's just resilient in everything she does. Brave, unstoppable, multifaceted, and resilient. I think that is fantastic and pretty much describes her seven years in the Delta Quadrant. So
yeah,
that's pretty great. Okay, let's get into our Prime Directives and see how those words fit into everybody's picks.
But what you're proposing is exactly the kind of tampering the Prime Directive prohibits.
Okay, so before we get into our Prime Directives, just a reminder that for these character episodes, we call them top 5 episodes, but what we really mean is that you can do episodes or moments or a combination of both, or you can pick big episodes or maybe just, episodes that maybe aren't about that character, but there's a moment that you just really connect with. So it's wide open, however you want to approach it. So Shar, I'm going to start again with you. How did you define your Prime Directive in finalizing your picks?
Well, let me just say that this has probably been the lengthiest TrekRanks list I've ever made. It was the most enjoyable homework I have done in a long time, but it was also the most difficult homework I've done in a while.
Right.
Paring down to my picks it was a constant, never-ending journey. Like, we're right up to the wire here. I might even change during the show. I promise you nothing. So I had to make some ground rules because, of any character, I've probably watched and analyzed Janeway more than anybody. And so some of my do-nots include it being somebody else or thinking she is someone else or playing a role. It has to be Katherine Janeway. And then beyond that, though, I kind of wanted to just go for my favorite moments, the ones that really stand out to me as the essence of Janeway, going for maybe the most impactful as far as the series goes. There's a couple of those, and it's a mixture of moments and entire episodes.
I like impactful. That feels like mine. I kind of went big on my list. And Char, I knew this was going to be brutal for you. That's why you were the first person I thought of when this topic.
Thank you for the torture. It was fantastic.
All right, Foz, how about you? How did you break it down?
Okay, so for me, when I started thinking about Janeway, I started thinking about the other captains and how they were portrayed. And they all seem to have had a bit more insights into their personal life in the episodes and the seasons. She was always kind of in a regular episode portrayed as the stoic captain, straight ahead. Whatever the problem is, she'll conquer it. It never like dove deep like they did with Cisco and Deep Space Nine, or gave that many episodes to go in depth like they did with Picard. So I really searched for the episodes to where I understood her, where she was coming from, what she was doing, and the goal she was reaching towards.
All right. So you might go a little, smaller is probably not the right word, but more in depth. I like that. So the layers that make up Janeway, I love that. Melanie, how about you? What was your breakdown?
I'm on board with Charlene. I started with about 45 episodes, and it was really the toughest but most fun TrekRanks homework, because the catalog of best or great Janeway episodes is just so extensive. She is Voyager to me, and the performance cannot be underestimated. So because I call her multifaceted, and she has so many layers and talents, whether it's the strength, the leadership, the decision-making, toughness, quick thinking, scientist, tactician, the arts, compassionate, protective, caring, kicks back, has fun, sense of humor. There's so many different parts of Katherine Janeway that I ended up just trying to pick a mixture of episodes that would reveal or explore different aspects of her, like, command abilities, science abilities, vulnerability, etc. And it's a combination of sort of the heavy hitter episodes with some of what I like to call the B-sides, a little bit deeper cuts. I tried to just get a variety to show the different sides of Janeway. I tried.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear some deep cut picks, because my list, I think I leaned the other way. I kind of went with the heavy hitters. So my initial word was resilient, but when I was putting my Prime Directive together and trying to narrow down my list, I kept coming back to confident as kind of like what I wanted to see in my picks. So I really focused on kind of when she's really resolute in her decision making and her command, and episodes where she wasn't in conflict with Seven or Chakotay or the Doctor or whoever. And I love those moments. I love those episodes. And I could easily do a top 5 list of those episodes and be thrilled with it. But I decided that was a good way for me to break it off and say, okay, I can eliminate some of these because it's about a little back and forth with Seven. There's so many of those, and Chakotay and the Doctor. There's a ton of them. So all my picks are basically coming down to moments in episodes where she's thoroughly in command and confident in what she's doing. And those were always my favorite moments of hers. So that's what I went with. I always seem to do something a little different on my character episodes, and this one is no different. Another different way to look at it for me. All right, I'm excited. Let's get into these picks. That's why it's episode 100, and we have 3 awesome guests and an amazing topic. So let's do this.
It'll be alphas like us that determine the future of this quadrant. That will be the new order of things.
As always, a quick reminder on how we're going to go through the order of things. First, everyone will start with their 5-word summary and a hashtag to tease their pick. Then we'll each reveal our top 5 Janeway episode and the specific reasons we're highlighting it. And at the end, we'll get a few secondary system selections for all the picks that just missed our list. That's going to take like 30 minutes. And as always, if we have any duplicate picks, make sure you listen for the Defiant Torpedoes. All right, Char, we're kicking it off with you. What's your number 5 pick for your top 5 Janeway episodes?
Okay. My 5 words are fully consumed by the darkness, hashtag, and for the record, my hashtags are all fairly long. Sorry about this. I made an error in judgment, Chakotay. The episode is Night. It kicks off season 5.
Fantastic.
And I did not realize this, but you know what? I might have done different facets of Janeway as well. And this is kind of introspective, guilt-ridden, depressed Janeway. And granted, this is an imperfect portrayal of depression for sure. I mean, you can't resolve depression in 45 minutes, but I love it when we see kind of the fact that our human captains are infallible. They are not superheroes. Kind of like when Picard in Family breaks down. This is Janeway living with the consequences of her decision. And this was a long time coming. They'd been stranded in the Delta Quadrant for a few years now. And of course, this has a profound effect on everybody. It had to have. And so it was really kind of nice and refreshing to see her dealing with this, just like we all would.
Yep. And you say that you can't do, depression in if you're going to do depression in 45 minutes, this is the best you can do of it. I mean, the way they portrayed it here was just felt so authentic, just so legitimate. It's a fantastic episode. And it's one of those ones that I think just gets better with time. Foz, Melanie, any thoughts on Night?
I love the episode, but it does go a bit dark. It's definitely one of the darker episodes of Voyager where it's such a bright and bubbly show at times. This one went the opposite way.
Yeah, I agree. It's so interesting and fascinating to see what happens when Janeway isn't so busy and she has time to really reflect. And it's such an interesting psychological study to see what's going on for her with the guilt and the heartfelt emotional thoughts. I really appreciate it as well.
I'd say it again, it just feels so authentic, that episode. And what a way to start a season. I mean, it was a dark way to start a season, really brave, which is your word as well, Shar.
That's right, it is.
Okay.
Oh, and I just really also like the whole story about the Malon and the taking out the garbage and all that as well. It's a great story.
A great line. I love it when she says, "Time to take out the garbage."
Yes.
So many great Janeway lines, and that is near the top of the list.
They're trying to distract the Malon, give us the upper hand.
10 seconds! The freighter's shields are weakening.
Target their cargo hold. Time to take out the garbage.
All right, Foz, how about you? What's your number 5 pick?
All right, my number 5 words is "No Time Like the Past." #Janeway. I got season 5, episode 24, Relativity.
Oh man,
nice.
That is good.
So I know that this is maybe on the surface a 7 of 9 episode.
Yeah.
But it has so much cool stuff in it. With Braxton coming back, and up to this point, I think this is the furthest that we had went into the future. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Jim. I'm not sure about that. That's what my understanding was.
Yeah, up to that point it was, yep.
So, you have so many cool aspects to make this episode memorable. But what always stood out to me, especially about Janeway, was she was quick with it. As soon as she came on the ship, just getting a tour, she could tell when something was off. Whenever, and she remembered that. Going forward, she could tell whenever something was off and remembered, wait, I've seen this before. And then as soon as she gets thrown this curveball of we already are having a Kazon invasion. We're already, having all this crazy stuff happen to us. Now I have a time traveler telling me that they're going to help save my ship. And then she gets taken into the future herself and gets, as she says, she feels like she's about to get drafted. And she just rolls with it because she knows that at the end of the day, this is what she does. She is the captain of this ship, and she is guiding them home, and she's guiding them to safety. And so if it means that she goes into the future, then sent back to the past and back and forth, that's what she has to do. She might not like it. She might, poke some fun at the whole time travel thing, but she's just with it.
Yeah, her resignation at the end to just know she has to go do it, even though she hates this stuff, is so great. And I appreciate that point because this is like a 7 episode, but at the end it kind of turns into a Janeway episode with her leading the way on that. I love that. Shar, Melanie, any thoughts on Relativity?
This is a great episode. I do agree. It starts off with 7, but really, Janeway takes charge just as you would expect her to do. And I love any kind of weird timey-wimey, to use a phrase from another franchise, kind of episode.
I get the feeling I'm about to be drafted.
In exchange for leniency, Captain Braxton informed us of the precise moment he boarded Voyager to plant the weapon. We'll be sending you to stop him. Tell her.
4, Section 38. I'll stumble over a wounded crew member. That will be your chance to capture me.
Don't miss it, or we'll have to do this all over again.
Wait a minute, let me get this straight. I'm going back in time to stop Braxton. But you already have him.
And there's a third one in our brig. I arrested him earlier today. But don't worry. They'll all be reintegrated in time for the trial.
And 7.
Well, I assure you, when all this is over, there'll be just one 7 of 9.
All right, let's get started before my headache gets any worse.
Captain Braxton just, the poor guy, Janeway just makes his life so difficult. and she doesn't even like time travel. She hates it. It gives her a headache. And then here we are. And the adventures that ensue really are fun. And we get the return of the Janeway buns. So what's not to love about that?
Janeway.
Yes.
I'm on board with you guys. I love relativity. Everything you said, Janeway, 7, Braxton, the timey-wimey stuff. This is one of my favorite episodes, and I love it. So, great pick.
Awesome pick. All right, well, let's go to you, Melanie. What is your round 5 pick?
Okay, 5 words. Janeway lays down the law. # deadly force. This is season 1, episode 5, Phage.
Ooh,
yeah.
Phage. That is a cool pick.
I love this one because it's not necessarily a Janeway episode, but there is a Janeway moment that I'm going to discuss, but it is an early episode that's still establishing her character and establishing, what kind of captain is she, are we seeing here? And there's that moment at the end in the transporter room when the Vidians are sitting on the pad where she does this incredible monologue that I could rewatch dozens of times, where she's expressing that all this heavy duty emotion that she can't carry them in the brig and that our people don't give us, we're not allowed to murder people. So I have no choice but to let you go. And then here comes badass Janeway, where the strength is coming out. And she says, take a message to your people with this threat that I'm going to quote. If I ever encounter your kind again, I will do whatever is necessary to protect my people from this harvesting of yours. Any aggressive actions taken against the ship or its crew will be met by the deadliest force. Is that clear? And I just love the way she delivers that, and the way she says, my people, always gets me. So I think it's a defining, episode where it's like, okay, this is a tough captain we're dealing with. She's going to protect her people, and she's basically setting the record straight here. Don't mess with us.
Full disclosure, I was pumping my fists while you were reading that quote. That moment is so awesome. Fantastic deep cut pick, because again, that's what it's about. Episodes or moments, and that is quintessential Janeway. Shar, Foz, any take on Janeway and Phage?
Yeah, I love this moment. I'm so glad somebody picked it. It is on my honorable mentions just because it really is one of those very first defining moments for Janeway. And let's be honest, the Vidians are a great adversary. They are a threat. So she has to lay down the law, and she does. It's so good.
So good.
I love how that sets up the Vidians in this, as you were saying, as like one of the better nemesis. I like them better than the Kazon personally in the early days.
Me too.
That would like reoccur. And, you get to eventually see more into their society and everything. This was such a great setup for it, and such a great way for her character to really be driven home as what she will do to protect her people.
Yep. Awesome.
Yes. I will die on that hill, by the way. I do think the Vidians are a better nemesis than the Kazon.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Great villain. All right, let's go to my pick to close out round 5. I'm going with a big one right off the bat. Talk about resilient. 5 words and a hashtag. The captain and her ship, hashtag, that time is never up. And it is season 4, Voyager, Year of Hell. It's such a powerful episode. So much greatness in it. But at its core, for me, it's about the relationship of Janeway with Voyager. And I think that it's one of the reasons I love that episode so much. Tuvok, there's that great scene with her and Tuvok where he's saying, the ship is just an assemblage of bulkheads and conduits. And she's like, nope, it's our home. It's part of our family. It's nurtured us. And right now it needs us. And no matter what, she was A, either going to go down with the ship, or B, hopefully save the ship. It's just all super powerful stuff. And there's so many great Janeway quotes in this episode with the, I hope you've got something a little bigger in your torpedo tubes. And when they don't respond to her and she's like, their mistake, we're going through their space whether they like it or not. This is turning into the week of hell. And of course, time's up. It's fantastic stuff. And one of my all-time favorite episodes. Even when there's a little bit of that conflict with the Doctor in this one where she gets burned and he's trying to relieve her of duty. And she's just like, yeah, it's not going to happen. I'll take you offline. I'm just going to keep going. So Year of Hell for me to start it off with a bang. Shar, what's your take on that?
Yeah, good pick. Also in my honorable mentions, I love that you mentioned Janeway's relationship with the ship, Voyager. Yeah. Voyager is a character on the show.
Yeah.
I believe that's been mentioned many times on TrekRanks. It is true. And Janeway has a very special relationship to this vessel, and especially in this episode where she's talking to Voyager saying, hey, be kind, come on girl, be good to me. We're going to get through this. She goes down with the ship to the very bitter end. It is a very emotional episode, and yeah, come on, how can you not love Time's Up?
It is legendary. Foz, Melanie, any other thoughts?
Yeah, this is actually one of my all-time favorite episodes of Star Trek ever. And Voyager being my favorite series is one of my favorite episodes of this ever. It goes so deep. Like, if this could have been what the series was on a consistent basis, people would have looked at it like so different. The fact that it just shows how far she is willing to go and the things that she'll do for her ship just says everything about Janeway.
Melanie?
Yep, I agree. Great pick. There is so much going on in this episode. Janeway is a force to be reckoned with. She's jumping into fires, doing everything possible. And then you've got the poignant, emotional, pocket watch stuff going on. And her speech when she says, when we find each other again, and we will find each other again, that speech gets me.
The senior staff and I will remain on board as long as possible. We will try somehow to rescue Tom and Chakotay. The escape pods are equipped with subspace beacons. That's how we'll keep track of you. When we find each other again, and we will find each other again, I expect all of you to be in one piece with some interesting stories to tell. Good luck.
It's just a great episode and massive Janeway stuff going on.
Asking you to stay would be asking you to die. Janeway, yes. We love her. All right, let's go to round 4. Shar, what's your number 4 pick?
Okay, my 5 words are strip down, show those guns, #badass Janeway fights viruses. It's Macrocosm from season 3.
Yes.
So we started off with depression on my list. Now we're going to physicality. And she doesn't rely on this very often in her captaincy. But when she does, man, she does it with some gusto. She ceremoniously strips down to her tank top, loads that phaser rifle, and gets to work. And I love that Kate Mulgrew hired a personal trainer to give her those really nicely toned arms in preparation for the episode. Because it totally paid off. She looks badass.
Oh, so good. So good. I'm so glad you picked this. I mean, it's G.I. Janeway or Die Hard Janeway or Action Janeway, whatever you want to call it, because there's a little bit of a message at the end of this episode, but this is just an action movie, and it's awesome, and it was needed, and they just did a great job with it.
No, this is not a thinking Star Trek episode. It's not a talky Star Trek episode. It's a let's get down and dirty, go to work episode. It was also one of the very first instances of CGI being used. Yep. And in the age of coronavirus, it really is kind of fun to actually see her killing viruses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Gosh, that's so satisfying right now.
Yep. And the talk about vaccines and stuff.
Yeah.
Melanie, Foz?
Yeah, I love this pick. From the moment she gets back to the ship, she is just going. And I love that hand-to-hand combat with the knife that she does at the end. It's like, yeah.
It's so good.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Okay, Internet, I want all the Janeway killing the coronavirus memes out now. I love this. Exactly what you said about the Die Hard thing. This is how I describe this episode is, Janeway goes Die Hard, or also another way to say it is she goes full Ripley.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot stress how much this episode means to me and how much I think of it quite often.
So good. All right, Foz, how about you? What's your number 4 pick?
All right. My number 4 pick, 5 words. Millennium Gate paved the way. # 1 minute to midnight. Season 5, episode 23, 11:59.
I just want to go on record right now and say that the Star Trek punk rocker just picked 11:59 as one of his favorite Janeway episodes.
I love it.
So screw you, people. That is fantastic.
So I'll go ahead and get out in front of anybody that's going to tweet anything about this wasn't a Janeway episode. It totally is a Janeway episode. It is all about what inspired Janeway to become captain and to become the person that she was to that day. And through telling the story, it's so funny because she's telling the story one way, but then whenever it shows in the actual episode, the actual what's happening, it tells it the real way. And then whenever she finds out, towards the end of the episode, what really happened, at first it does jar her, but then she realizes, you know what? This is still a story that made me me, and I love it, and I'm going to embrace this real version as well, because this has so much meaning to me and my family. And you just see what makes her tick, what she has thought since she was a child. It's like with the 37s when she meets Amelia Earhart. Like, you can tell these are the things that made Janeway want to become her.
You can't break it down any better than that. Really well said. Shar or Melanie?
I can't say it any better than that.
Yeah, that is good stuff. I really wanted to put this episode on my list, but I had my rule where it's not technically really Janeway, but you make such a good argument against that that I want to reconsider, but I won't because you picked it. And I love it so much. This was one of the very first episodes I thought of when compiling my list. I love 11:59.
Yeah, Shannon O'Donnell for the win. She was awesome. Great episode, and as this episode is dropping on Christmas Day, I'm pretty sure I'll be watching it right around this time.
Me too, Jim. This is one of my go-to Star Trek Christmas episodes.
I do it every year around that last week of Christmas. So, okay, let's go to Melanie's number 4 pick. What do you got?
Okay. Janeway navigates hostiles and emotions. # if the ending doesn't get you choked up, then you have no soul. Just kidding. Season 2, episode 12, Resistance.
Oh, that's so great. And you do have no soul if you don't get choked up at the end.
I think this is a cool one because once again, Janeway, all her different levels are happening at once. She's showing her strength and tenacity with her single-minded focus of, I have to get to this prison. I have to free my people. We have to figure this out. I have an objective. Let's do it. While she's also navigating, Kalem's complex emotions and dealing with him as well. It's showing her cleverness as always when she identifies the boots of that soldier guy and she's like, he's got those boots on. And then of course her creative, way to enter the prison. She's quick thinking, this is a way I can get into the prison. Again, badass. And of course that ending scene with Kalem is so heartbreaking when we get to see, Janeway feeling emotional, and then with the necklace at the end. I just appreciate her in this episode.
It is a spectacular episode. Another one of those ones that gets better and better as time goes on. Joel Grey is amazing in it. I definitely rewatched this as part of my research, and I appreciate it so much. How just the pacing and the way it's set up, and the relationship between Janeway and Kalem, Joel Grey's character, is really powerful. Shar, Foz, any thoughts on Resistance?
I agree with you, Jim. This one only gets better with age. At first, I don't think I appreciated it because I was a teenager when it aired. So I don't think I fully understood everything that was going on. I couldn't appreciate it the way I can now. The way that Kalem is not quite all there.
Yep.
And all of that. And the way Janeway handles everything. I love how she uses such a diverse skill set to get her through this experience. And of course, it is an emotional heartbreaker with that necklace at the end. And I'd love her and Joel Grey working together again. It was very cool to see that. And then also at Star Trek Las Vegas one year, he came for that and they did a panel together. And that was just so cool. You can tell they love and adore each other.
Yeah, when you're watching this, you just know how much Kate Mulgrew appreciates Joel Grey's life and career and his accomplishments. So cool. Foz, any quick take?
Joel Grey should have won all the awards.
Yes.
All of them. Just line them up for him. If you don't cry in that episode, or at least get a little teary out of there, I got to question you, man. Gosh, I love this episode. It is one of those tearjerker episodes for me, for sure. Oh gosh, I love it.
Yeah, you said that I was like a young 30-something when this aired, and I was definitely like, I didn't love it. And there's that scene where he's dancing to distract the guards, and I'm thinking, oh, they just wrote that for Joel Grey. Now I watch it and I'm bawling, like, oh, it's so emotional. It's fantastic.
Same.
All right, let's go close out round 4 with my pick. We have no duplicates yet, so I'm surprised by that. I love it. There's no way that's going to last. My round 4 pick, 5 words and a hashtag. Janeway guides her lower deckers, hashtag lost sheep. And it, of course, is Voyager Season 6 episode Good Shepherd. And this episode for me is just all about the strong, selfless, brave Janeway in every way. There's a great moment. She's just so empathetic in this that she just wants to lead these people, and she's not going to abandon a member of her crew, as she says, no matter what their problems are. And I love that moment where she's talking. There's a scene where she's talking with Tau Celeste, and they're really pushing back on it. They're like, listen, we know what you're doing. You're just trying to make us feel good. If this ship was in the Alpha Quadrant, you would not keep me on your ship. And Janeway's like, yeah, I can't honestly answer that. But it's never contrite or cloying in the way that she deals with it and tries to make them feel like they belong. And at the end, it's just this really nice, they all come together, they work together to solve the proto species or whatever, the kind of MacGuffin at the end that they're dealing with. And it's just, she just puts her crew in front of herself. And I think this episode is a microcosm of that. And she wakes up at the end after the Delta Flyer kind of explodes and she's in sickbay. And the first thing she says when she jolts awake is, my crew, like, what's happened to them? And that's what she cares about. And there's no easy answers for any of these three, Tau Celeste, Mortimer Heron, or William Telfer, but they all appreciate what she did. They all grow just a little bit and they move on. It's a really, really clever, strong, deep cut episode of Voyager that I love. Anybody have a take on this one?
I just wish we could have seen more of this aspect of Janeway with these lower deckers. Could we have had some follow-up? That would have been amazing to see them progress just a little bit and feel maybe a little more like they do belong. And then how about the Equinox crew? Whatever happened to those guys? Does she do the same thing with them? So when I think about this episode, I unfortunately think of missed opportunities just because what we did see was great. It was a good beginning. There was room for more. They had a lot of potential.
Two things. The Equinox crew is scrubbing carbon off of slightly harder carbon. That is their sole job. That's all they're doing. And secondly, you can literally say that, and we said it about Year of Hell, you can literally say that about Voyager's 7-year run. What I always say about that is that's just not what the show was, right? It's the late 90s. That's not what TV was then. And it was a standalone episode-to-episode syndicated show. So no, we didn't get that. At least we did see Tau Celeste a couple of times. She appeared in a few episodes. So
that's true. That's true.
Foz, Melanie, any quick thoughts?
I always appreciate a good lower deck style episode. So this is really cool pick. I like to see Janeway looking out for the lower decks people and what she does to take them on the away trip, even though that one guy down in section 15 is not having it at first.
Not having it.
And I also love a good Tom Morello cameo.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So cool pick.
Love seeing Tom Morello in that role. Okay, let's go to the soup round.
Eat your soup, courtesy of a loyal establishment. Jolan True.
Shar, what's your number 3 pick?
Soup. That sounds nice. So for my third pick, 5 words are Janeway makes an emotional appeal. Hashtag micro wormhole. It's Eye of the Needle in season 1.
Cool pick.
Now, my big grievance with this episode is that it just happens way too soon in the series, but it is one of my absolute favorites. Another hill I will die on happily is that this should have been the season 1 finale episode, but that's just me.
Good point.
So I love this episode though, because it sort of sets Janeway apart from the other captains of what we have seen so this far in the series. So when she's trying to negotiate a deal with Telek, she tries diplomacy, and when she doesn't establish enough trust with him, she goes for the emotional appeal. She gets personal. She appeals to him as a person and relating that loneliness that's setting in, her own as well as his. He hasn't even seen his young child. And I don't know if that's something Picard or Sisko or Kirk would have thought to do, and certainly not as quickly as she did. And I don't know if they would have done it successfully. But she does it, and she does it in a silky nightie at that, thank you very much, in the middle of the night.
Definitely was not going to let this segment go without mentioning the amazing sleepwear of Captain Janeway. I love this deep cut pick. Foz, Melanie, any thoughts on Eye of the Needle?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite episodes. Very poignant. Again, different sides of Janeway. We have her as the scientist, leadership, wormhole, and then vulnerability. And like Shar said, relating to him on a personal level. Yeah, I love this one.
It's a really good point. And I know this one was written by Jerry Taylor, so you can feel that influence for her quick personal interaction with Vaughn Armstrong as the Romulan. Foz, any quick take?
This is a great one. I actually hadn't thought of it, but now that you mentioned it, I'm wondering why I didn't.
Welcome to TrekRanks. Foz, how about you? What's your number 3 pick?
Okay. Rakana would have been proud. Hashtag F the Mokra. Season 2, episode 12, Resistance.
Impressive.
So fire the phasers. And I also got to throw in there, since we've already touched on this, I'll go to a couple of little tidbits on it. I just want to point out, this is the soup round, and there is a scene where he offered her soup.
Oh my God, that's great. Yeah, I know.
Whenever I was doing my list and I had it all compiled, I looked at that and I was like, oh, I didn't even mean to do that. That's perfect. And this is, just another episode where it shows the different facets of her. Janeway, while she is almost single-minded, pops up, immediately wants to get her crew, immediately wants to get back, wants to make sure the ship is safe, because that was the whole point of being on the planet, is to get the thing that they needed to make the thing that they need work. And what that part is almost doesn't even matter after, Tuvok and B'Elanna get captured. Then it becomes about that mission. And whenever she goes into this, like you said earlier, she sees the boots on the guy who's probably going to set him up in a big trap, and she notices it instantly. And whenever she figures out she can't take him in a firefight, she tries a different approach. And goes in with I called it the Rambo 2 approach of posing as, a call girl going down to the tunnels and sets up a trap. I just think this episode is great. Like I said, give Joel Grey all the awards.
Yeah, it's really powerful. Yeah, awesome pick. Thank you, Foz. All right, Melanie, let's go to your round 3 pick.
Okay. Voyager connects with Vaughn Armstrong. Hashtag Harry Kim wormhole. It's Eye of the Needle.
Hey!
I knew there was going to start being some duplicates.
Charlene already spoke so eloquently about it. I just want to, comment on that scene when she is in her quarters speaking with Telek and says, our notes are just some heartfelt words from some very lonely people. That's just a great moment. And then at the end, when they realize that it's not going to work out, and gosh darn it, that guy should have had a will. I stand on that hill. But when they find out that it's not going to work out, she just has to snap back into captain mode and be a leader and say, okay, then let's move on. We have a long way to go. So there's a lot going on for Janeway there. And I also appreciate the appeal that she makes to him with his daughter. That was, very quick thinking and also heartfelt. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's an awesome episode of Voyager. And I think it's like the 6th episode. So it really does stand the test of time. that you guys are picking it. All right, let's close out the duplicate round with one more duplicate. 5 words and a hashtag. Where the hands on hips hashtag actually become a plot point. It is Macrocosm from Voyager Season 3. And my hashtag, of course, is that she upsets the tac-tac because she stands with her hands on the hips as she does so frequently. I love Macrocosm. We talked about it already. It's just, the one thing I didn't mention, I'll say now, is that I think the episode came at the perfect time. It was right in the middle of the 3rd season. And it just seemed like the exact right time to forget about any of the kind of real or the preconceived labels that some people might have brought to the table with Trek's first, female captain series lead. And it just strips it all down. It's not about family. It's not about nurturing. It's not about any kind of science or morality message. It's just Janeway kicking ass, full action mode, breaking down stereotypes, and everybody loves it. Everybody loves this episode. It's just really, really well done. Brandon Braga script. I love it. Screw the tac-tac. They are annoying.
Agreed.
Agreed.
All right. We'll close it out there on the tac-tac and Macrocosm and go to round 2. Shar, what's your number 2 pick?
My 5 words are cat and mouse done right. Hashtag beating Kashyyyk at his own game. It's Counterpoint from season 5.
Yes, such a good pick.
Oh, it's such a good episode. And it was one of Kate Mulgrew's favorites of the entire series, and for good reason. I mean, it is just solid all the way through. I love the back and forth in the episode because it's fun and it keeps you guessing and engaged. The suspense really does kind of get you going, and it's just really freaking good all the way through. I have nothing further to add.
It's just so smart because you really don't, when you're watching it, you don't know which way it's going to go. You can't figure it out. And even, it's one of those episodes where I have tried to distance so that I can re-enjoy it, like for the first time with like the second, third, fourth time you're watching it. Of course, now I've seen it 50 times, but I just love the way they set it up, and you don't really have a clue that Janeway's in on it right from the start, and and playing this guy while also knowing that the feelings are probably real at some level with Kashyyyk.
Well played, Captain. It seems I never did earn your trust.
I had to take a few precautions. You understand?
Better than anyone.
I never lied to you. My offer to take you with us was genuine, and it would still stand if you'd kept your part of the bargain.
For what it's worth, you made a tempting offer. The bridge is yours.
Foz, Melanie, what's your take on Counterpoint?
I am so glad you picked this. It was such a tough cut for me. What a great episode. I agree with everything you guys said, and I love them matching wits. She's interested in him, but at the same time, she stays sharp and smart with her backup plan and, watching her emotions through the whole thing and the way they're helping the refugees, which is that is scary. There's some real stakes involved here with Tuvok and the buffering and just the interplay or whatever you want to call it between her and Kashyyyk is so fascinating. Great episode.
Well said. There's real stakes in this episode too. That's one of the reasons it's so strong. Because every time they have one of those transporter scenes, you're like, oh, time's running out. Come on.
Yep.
And it's such a great reveal at the end when they open the thing, and it's just a lot of fruit and organic material. Foz, any take on Counterpoint?
Love this episode. I was thinking about it myself. It's one of the few episodes where you see Janeway actually possibly open up to an option of being with somebody. Like, as far as we know, for the most part, she's still thinking about her man back home with her dog. And you kind of feel the whole time like, is this real? Is she playing him? Is he playing her? I'm not sure, but like it also makes you think, what if it was genuine? What would have happened?
I'll say this was one of my 2 toughest cuts picks because I believe I like this one because of, again, what I said about my prime directive. It's just Janeway confident. She's just in control this whole time, even though you're not really sure that she is. Foz, how about you? What's your round 2 pick?
Here we go against the torpedoes. 5 words. Ripley, eat your heart out. Hashtag macrovirus.
Triplicate.
Season 3, episode 12, Macrocosm. Like I said before, full diehard, full Ripley. I was a teenager whenever this came out, and it got my attention. I was, I don't know what I was doing that night, but I'm sure whatever it was, I ignored it, and I was just glued to the TV. Because every time I think of Voyager, I think of this episode. It always pops into my head.
It's awesome. It actually makes sense that it's on 3 of our lists thus far, a fantastic standout episode for Janeway and for Voyager. All right, Melanie, let's go to your round 2 pick. What do you got?
Okay. 2 Janeways, better than 1. Hashtag take that, Vidians. Season 2, episode 21, Deadlock.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
This is just some damn good, brilliant science fiction. Non-stop, engrossing from beginning to end. There is so much happening so quickly. And Janeway, brilliant scientist, leader, captain that she is staying right on top of the breakneck pace. She's having all this information thrown at her, figuring it out. Then she, connects with the other Janeway, which is just so fascinating and amazing how they work together. And, there isn't even a minute for them to be freaked out. They just have to deal with it. And again, 2 Janeways better than 1. Together, they have their quick thinking, their decision making, looking at all the aspects. The Janeway versus Janeway scene is so cool. And I also like the softer scenes as well, like, or quiet or whatever you want to call them, like when, Samantha Wildman has her baby and Janeway comes and visits. And then again, quick thinking with Janeway, Harry, grab the baby. You have 5 minutes. She figures that out quickly. And then we've got the heroic shootout on the sick bay with Harry, which is pretty awesome. My original hashtag was Harry is a hero. You have to admit that shootout is pretty darn cool.
So good.
It is.
And then at the end with her, welcome to the bridge. You've got to love that. So this is a real rewatchable favorite episode of mine with Janeway at her finest.
Yeah, you started off. It's one of the best sci-fi conceits in the history of Star Trek. And for that, I can say my 5 words in a hashtag. Mr. Kim wears Starfleet officers. Hashtag weird is part of the job. My number 2 pick is also Deadlock. It's just so brilliantly executed. The first act, like the first 15 minutes of this, when the proton bursts just start hitting the bridge out of thin air, you have no idea what's going on. Here come the Vidians. It's just so strong. And it ends with, did we just see a ghost image of Janeway running off the bridge? What the hell is going on? It's just superb. Absolutely one of the best scripts in Trek history. And the reason I picked it is because of the doppelganger showdown with Janeway, 2 Janeways. It's just so well done. That scene where she says, please don't make me call security and have you escorted off my ship because I'll do it. I love that moment so much because they're not at odds. They respect each other, but it's just the truth. And they both are realize it's just so smart. And then the flip that their ship's getting beat up and it's our Janeway that's going to go sacrifice herself. And the second Janeway ends up having to be the one that sacrifices herself. And just absolute genius episode of Star Trek. I love it to death.
Captain, I think you should return to your ship and run a metallurgical analysis. Find out the precise phase modulation of your hull. I'll do the same here. Maybe we can find a way to realign the phase displacement. You're going to self-destruct your ship. What makes you say that? Because that's what I would do if your Voyager were intact, and my Voyager were crippled. My crew wounded or dead. I'd sacrifice my ship so that yours could survive. And I'm glad we agree. Go back to your ship. I didn't say I agree, I said I understand. I'm not willing to let you make that sacrifice yet. We haven't explored all the options. Yes, we have, and we both know it. This is my ship and my decision. Captain, I'm not going to let I've made my decision. Please don't make me call security and have you escorted off my ship because I'll do it. All right, I'll go back. But give me 15 minutes to come up with another solution. After that, it's your decision. 15 minutes. Good luck. To both of us.
Shar, what's your take on Deadlock?
You'll have to excuse me. I'm a little busy loading torpedoes right now.
We have a 3 in a row. It might be the first 3 in a row ever. Are we on the first round now?
Yeah.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So Shar's number 1 pick is Deadlock, and we have Deadlock
It is
3 times in a row. That is fantastic.
Let's hear your
perfect. Let's hear your 5 words and a hashtag.
Okay. Double Janeway, double the fun, and I swear I didn't steal your hashtag, weirdest part of the job.
Of course. I actually thought that might be a duplicate hashtag.
It's so good. It's one of my favorite lines in the whole series, weirdest part of the job.
So good.
Yeah. Oh, Melanie, you nailed so many of the reasons why I love this episode. It's just such a good one from start to finish. It is a rock solid sci-fi story from start to finish. It's got it all. It's even got the exploding ship, the reset button. 2 Janeways. What's not to love about that? Kate Mulgrew is amazing with that. So good that they did it again in Endgame.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
But this was the first time. And it does bring up a very all-important question, though, right? That we haven't addressed yet. Is this version of Harry and Naomi that we see through the rest of the series really them?
They're from a different reality.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Not saying, just saying.
It's good to have you back, Ensign.
Thank you, I think.
Something wrong?
I'm not sure. I mean, this isn't really my ship. And you're not really my captain. And yet you are, and there's no difference. But I know there's a difference. Or is there? It's all a little weird.
Mr. Kieran, we're Starfleet officers. Weird is part of the job.
I love that. And by the way, that's another moment in this when Harry dies and you're like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah. That does not happen in episodic Star Trek.
No, it really does not. Amazing. All right, Foz, you're the only one who has not talked about how awesome Deadlock is, so please do that now.
God, it makes me want to change my number 1 to this just so we can keep it going here. But unfortunately, no, this is not my number 1. Gosh, I love this episode so much. I definitely did think of it. And you brought up the Harry thing of it all. That was like what I was waiting to say the whole time. Was this the first copy of Harry, or like the first death and he comes back alive? I know it was one of a few.
Well, let's see. Emanations.
No, Emanations. Yeah, Emanations. Although Emanations,
he dies. He's not a duplicate, though.
Yeah, he dies and they revive him. Yeah,
it's like at some point, it's like how many Harrys have there been?
That's why he can't get promoted. He's going to start over every time.
Back to 0.
I always say Harry did get promoted in Endgame in a history that didn't, in a future that didn't happen. So
does it count then?
No.
Poor Harry.
No.
He's back at Starfleet right now.
All right. Awesome job, Foz. Let's hear your number 1 pick now.
Okay. 5 words. Not the destination that matters. # to the journey. Now, of course, it's Endgame parts 1 and 2, season 7, episodes 25 and 26.
I love it. So
nice.
We do have 4 straight duplicate Janeway picks. So that's something. That's awesome.
The more Janeways, the better.
Exactly. Yeah. 8. There's 8 Janeways in the last 4 picks.
This is the most Janewayest episode of Janeway episodes ever. So I had to pick it for my number 1.
So good.
It is, we were just talking about another duplicate Janeway, but this is even more so. And gosh, people complain about the finale. I don't get it. I love this last episode.
Awesome.
You get the Borg Queen. You get, Harry as a captain, like we were just talking about before. You get to see the Doctor will end up married, and that you get to hear the name that he picks out for himself. When I was rewatching this episode, for this show, you see the old age makeup on everybody. So I started doing the math in my head, and the actors are actually getting close to the age that's supposed to be. And I'm like, all the actors look so much better than the old age makeup being applied to them. I think that's been something in Star Trek that you see a lot. Like, Picard obviously looks better than he did in the future episodes.
Yeah.
God, I love it so much how just like in the episode, the season series finale of The Next Generation, whenever, older Picard goes and, enlists the help of some people that from his past, and they just go right with him because he was the captain and they trust him. Same way with Harry, whenever she has to go to Harry and tells him what's going on, she's the captain. Even though it's been all these years, it's been 10 years, she's still the captain. And she's still fighting for a way to get them home all together and all at once and way sooner.
Well, I totally agree with you. This is an amazing episode. It's number 20 for me on TrekRanks. I love this finale. I do wish, my only critique would be, I just wish we had got another 15 minutes of them like getting to Earth and celebrating or something.
I do too.
Yeah.
But that, wanting more of something awesome is not that much of a criticism, because I love the storyline, the Janeway, Admiral Janeway, and the way her single-mindedness in terms of coming back and trying to get them home sooner. It's just really, really well done, really clever. It's a great finale for the Borg Queen. I love Endgame. I love Janeway in it. I love Morale Paris, and it's just an awesome episode. Melanie, what's your take on Endgame?
I love it. This is an awesome pick, Foz. I'm so glad you picked it. There's so much going on. I mean, Admiral Janeway is tough as nails. I love watching her with the Klingons, dealing with the Klingon guy, going toe-to-toe with the Borg Queen, with Harry, everything you've said, the humor that she has with the Doctor about his wife. She's got strength and tenacity and conviction. And that heartbreaking scene with Tuvok, which
why'd you have to bring that up?
Sorry, gets me every time. I actually just rewatched this for the homework, and oh my God, that scene is amazing. And her acting is so good that when the two Janeways are together, it does seem like two different actors. I mean,
so good.
They did it so well. I love it. Great pick.
Spectacular. Shar, how about you on Endgame?
Endgame, mixed bag for me. I don't know if I like it as much as you guys do, and that's okay. I do agree, however, with what you just said, Melanie, about two Janeways feeling like two very different people. You can tell that Admiral Janeway has been through some things.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I first watched the episode, I really couldn't trust her because she didn't drink coffee. Is this the real Janeway? I really thought maybe they were going for that angle.
That's right, yeah. But then she comes around at the end. We know why you don't like it, Shar.
Well,
because of Chakotay.
That's one of a few reasons. Now, that said, though, there are some cool things. I love seeing Voyager get home and that footage. I love the way that the Borg story kind of comes about. The way that's handled, the solution is very cool. I do appreciate Joe. The Doctor picks the name, and of all things, it's Joe. Okay, yeah, fine. And I also agree that the actors have aged far better than the makeup artist gave them credit. They're doing great.
Once you kind of get past that it ends abruptly right when they get home, the Voyager coming out of the middle of that Borg sphere is so cool.
It is. Really, that is a moment.
Clever moment, yeah.
And, I was very disappointed and let down that we didn't get to see anything on Earth either. However, as was kind of Voyager's tradition, it always left you with great ideas, with a lot of missing scenes and making you want more. Well, fanfic. There are countless fanfics about what happened after they got home, when they got home. So, there's a nice fringe benefit.
I love it. I'm going to belabor one more quick point on Endgame. There's a scene in this, because I rewatched it too, that plays so differently now with having seen 7 in Star Trek Picard, where she's talking about doing things to help people. And it really sounds like, you're talking about what you're saying is literally what you're doing now as a vigilante. So it's when she's basically breaking up with Chakotay and saying that she's going to sacrifice herself to help save other people. Really cool. Plays very differently now.
Yeah. May I add 2 quick thoughts about Endgame?
Of course.
The first one is, being a Bay Area person, seeing Voyager flying over the Golden Gate Bridge never gets old.
Have you been to the museum on the Presidio of Voyager?
I have not.
I wish.
Voyager is the museum.
Voyager is a museum. And the other thing is, I've always felt that the casting of Morale is so great. Like, she really seems like Tom and B'Elanna's daughter. I love her.
Totally agree. I would watch any extended show with Morale Paris. Okay, Melanie, what's your number one pick?
Okay, number one. Janeway forges a daring alliance. Hashtag state your designation. It's season 3, episode 26, and season 4, episode 1 together. Scorpion.
Yes, that is so cool that we get Scorpion into the show. It didn't fit my prime directive, so it was painful not to pick it, so I'm glad you did, Melanie.
So this is showing, the side of Janeway that is so strong. I mean, wow. Whether you agree with her decision or not, you can't deny the unbelievable courage, strength, and bravery that she has to form this alliance with the Borg. And then to watch how she works with them when she ends up on their ship, the way she lays down the parameters, staying strong, stating her demands, the deal's off, all of that.
So good.
We will work as one mind.
No, that wasn't the agreement.
The neural link is temporary. You will not be damaged.
I don't care. I prefer to communicate verbally. Thank you.
Your primitive communication is inefficient.
On the contrary, we work better with our individuality intact. Surely we've proven that to you by now.
Irrelevant. You must comply.
We must do nothing. Tell your drone to remove the transceiver. What about choosing a representative? A single Borg we can work with and talk to directly.
Elaborate.
You've done it before. When you transformed Jean-Luc Picard into Locutus. We will not be assimilated. Choose a representative or the deal's off.
And then, of course, the conference room scene, the Chakotay, is one of my favorite scenes in the entire franchise. I could rewatch it over and over. It's absolutely amazing. Brilliantly written, brilliantly acted, the way she states her case. Again, agree with her or not, I just can't deny the power of it. And also, this sets up, the relationship with Seven. That is such a defining relationship with her that, continues on into the gift with helping her, regain her humanity, and the brig with, I don't want that life, and what's my favorite color. And I know I'm getting into the gift here, but had to get that in there. I just think Scorpion is a really kind of like textbook Janeway when she gets her mind on something and she wants to see it through. And it's, heartbreaking when she says to Chakotay, well, then I guess I really am alone, and that look on her face. What a powerful scene. That's why I chose Scorpion.
Yeah, that's a great scene. That was very hard. This is one of my all-time favorite episodes of any Star Trek. Janeway's brilliant in it. It's an amazing reset for the series in the beginning of season 4 into season 3. I love it. Foz, what's your take on Scorpion?
I don't have much to add, but it's just a great super episode. I love it.
For sure. How about you, Shar?
Oh, yeah. I love Scorpion. Fantastic episode. I mean, we knew that they were going to bring in the Borg at some point, and they did so with gusto. It was brilliant. It was explosive. Something bigger that was destroying the Borg. Well, holy you know what. that is no joke. And Janeway does get a little headstrong in this episode, but I love how it at first divides her and Chakotay, because they have that moment where it's like, hey, no matter what happens, you're not alone. Well, I guess I am alone. But then they come back together and they say, we have to work together to get through this. And so as a two-parter, it's really, really good.
Gusto is a great word. It's hard to try and tackle something this big and be so successful, because most people would list this in their top 2 or 3 episodes. And we definitely do at TrekRanks. All right, let's go to my round 1 pick. It is not a duplicate, which is cool, but I'm sure it's an episode that you guys love just as much. 5 words and a hashtag. Best way to get help, hashtag, is to give help. And it is Voyager Season 7, Episode 15, The Void.
Ooh.
And for me, this episode really, it's like quintessential microcosm of the Federation, The Void, where Voyager's sucked into this void in space, and there's all these ships just kind of beating each other up, trying to survive. But for me, this is all about Janeway and her confidence and her thoughtfulness, just to say, she just cuts through it really quickly and says, it's better if we work together. We got to find a way to communicate and share resources, and we're not just going to forget who we are. And there's a great scene where Chakotay and Tuvok are both like, are you sure we can pull this off? And she's like, what's the worst thing that can happen? We last 2 days instead of a week. Big deal. We're not gonna lose who we are, and we're going to keep doing what we know is right. And my favorite moment of this episode, and it actually, again, it plays a little bit differently today, and it's when Janeway she thinks she's found a solution with one of the guys that she's going to bring in as an alliance, but she kind of knows deep down that he's awful and a bigot. And she immediately realizes how wrong she is, and she's kicking herself for not trusting her instincts when she had a pretty good idea that this guy was a bigot, and she kicks him out of the alliance, and they get rid of his tech, and they're going to do it their own way.
You did what you had to do.
Still, I made a mistake.
By telling Bosal to leave.
Allowing him to join in the first place.
You couldn't have known what he was going to do.
Oh, I had a pretty good idea what kind of person he was. That bigoted reaction he had to the doctor's friend told me all I needed to know. But I ignored my instincts.
Why?
Because I thought his ship could help us escape.
You weren't the only one who wanted him in the Alliance.
Maybe not. But if I'd listened to my doubts in the first place, we wouldn't have lost the other 2 ships.
We'll find a way out of here without them.
Where do we stand with the modulator?
B'Elanna and the other engineers are working around the clock to build one. She thinks they'll be ready to test in a couple of days.
So everyone's pulling together to make up for my mistake.
They have to. It says so in the Federation Charter.
And I'm watching it, and I just love it because all I can think of is like the both sides bullshit that we've been living with for the last 4 years in the Trump era, where one side is literally Nazis and the other side is not Nazis. So there's no sides bullshit, and that's what this spoke to me, because she's just like, no, I knew this guy was a bigot, and I said, no, I'll work with them. We'll work around it. We'll take Phantomi's species people onto our ship and help them out. And it's like, nope, we aren't working with people that are racist, homophobic, misogynist villains like that. So F that. It's my favorite Janeway episode. She just kicks ass all the way through it. She's completely confident, knows exactly what she's going to do, and it works. And it's what I think of when I think of CaptainKatherine Janeway. So, Shar, what's your take on The Void?
I love that you picked for your number one an episode I didn't even think about, and just how relevant it is to our modern day here. There's lessons to be learned from this. Now I've got to go watch The Void again. Man. Yeah,
it's interesting to say the least. How about you, Foz?
I love it. Exactly what Shar said. I didn't even think of this, but it's totally right on. And, you know, it really makes me think like where Macrocosm was, you know, her being a physical badass. This is her just being a badass in general, to where, you know, you can't mess with her.
Love that.
Yeah, for well said. Yeah, it's not like the physical badass, but like just forthright and smart. She was smart. She did it all the right way. Melanie, how about you?
Same here. You have totally inspired me with what you said to just go rewatch this right away, because I hadn't seen this one in so long. I kind of forgot it. And now I'm super inspired to go watch it. And is this the one with Jonathan Del Arco?
Yes, he plays Phantomi.
Okay.
He's adorable.
I don't remember it that well, so I am definitely going to rewatch this pronto.
Awesome. There's a bunch of good moments, but that's the one that really stood out to me when she realizes like that she came up with a workaround to work with a bigot. And
very cool.
Don't waste your time, people.
Let's see what you can do with the secondary systems.
Okay, let's get into some secondary systems picks. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot here to cover. So, Shar, how about you? What's on your list?
I've actually got 2 lists. I've got honorable mentions and then the Janeway episodes I wanted to put on my list, but she's not really Janeway. So I'll try to make this brief.
Rattle them off.
Okay. So I have on here Persistence of Vision. Again, dealing with Janeway's loneliness and that manifesting, but Night goes deeper and I think maybe does it a little better. And let's see, Sacred Ground, where a woman of science is challenged with faith.
A cool episode. I thought somebody might pick that. I'm glad you said that.
I kind of thought maybe somebody would put it on here too, but that's okay. There's too much to choose from, honestly.
Yep.
Basics Part 2, her leadership, keeping her crew safe, just in the absolute boonies with nothing to work with.
Awesome.
Scientific Method, again, getting a little headstrong, really headachy, really pissed off.
really headachy.
Really headachy. Well, I would be too if somebody was putting an ice pick in my head.
Hell yeah, you would.
Her speech at the end of Caretaker, kind of setting the stage for the rest of the show. They're going to come together. They're going to be a Starfleet crew, and they're going to get home.
Great moment.
And of course, one more time, time's up. Just because it's that good.
Fantastic.
Janeway episodes where it's not really her. 11:59. So glad that got on here.
Yep.
Workforce.
Oh,
it's fun.
So good. So good.
Yeah, like this character of, it's not Janeway, but it's a lot of her personality just in a different situation. Kind of cool to see that juxtaposition.
I can see why someone would not pick it for that reason, but it's also, I love the end when it's like, what's his name? Jaffin kind of just realizes like, of course you're the captain of this ship. It's just like, he's just like, you just knew that she was special.
Yes. I've also got Killing Game on here where she's Katrine.
Oh, yeah.
The gung-ho gal. I love that so much. And speaking of Nazis, there's another good one.
Killing Game's on my list, yep.
And Bride of Chaotica, of course.
Oh, my God.
Because it's her, but she's playing a character.
Somehow I didn't think of Bride of Chaotica. I love your Janeway, not Janeway list. Fantastic. Foz, any more you want to rattle off?
So I just mentioned my two main ones that I almost made the list was Caretaker, because it's one of my favorite pilots of any of the Trek series, and it just sets up exactly who she is right out of the gate. And Bride of Chaotica, just because it's such a fun episode, she actually gets to have fun.
Yes.
And it's just such a cool episode. Year of Hell was one I thought of, and we went over that. So the last one I mentioned that almost made my list was Resolutions.
Oh, yeah. Well, that is a heartbreaker. Don't bring that up to Shar.
Oh, no, let's talk about it for a long time.
Yes, exactly.
I just love the what if scenario, and at what point, if things went more Chakotay's way, does she give, if at all?
Right. And who is she then? Who is that Katherine Janeway without command? That's the fascinating aspect of that episode for her.
And maybe she could have become a scientist of that planet.
She was on her way already. Melanie, how about you?
As always, I have a lot of them, so I'll go quickly. Bride of Chaotica, Caretaker, Coda, Counterpoint,
yes, Coda.
Dark Frontier, Equinox. So much I want to say about that one. Dressing down Ransom, tactical superiority goes to our ship, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Endgame, Future's End, going toe-to-toe with Henry Starling, The Killing Game, The Gift, Macrocosm, Night, Pathfinder, keep a docking bay open for us.
Oh.
Shattered, #Hello, Seska.
Nice.
Scientific Method, Workforce, Year of Hell, 37s, and Resolutions.
Fantastic. There was a few in there that hadn't got mentioned, so I appreciate that.
I just wanted to add, I would have totally had 37s on my list, but as an avid TrekRanks listener, it has been brought up so many times lately.
It's been mentioned a lot.
I think I had it on my list whenever I was on here before, and I was like, nah, I can't do that. But 37's all the way.
Foz, I had the exact same thought.
It's come up a lot. Well, I'll start off my list with the same thought as well. I probably would have picked Dreadnought for that moment. Which I picked in our top 5 first contact moments, because I love when Janeway says, we're going to blow up our ship to protect this planet that we've never met before, because it's the right thing to do. And I love that moment. Dreadnought's been picked a few times recently on TrekRanks, so I didn't pick it. My toughest cuts were Endgame and Counterpoint. The only other one on my list that hasn't been mentioned yet, and I love it because I think it shows Janeway's openness in the way she processes information, is Parallax, where she chooses B'Elanna Torres as her chief engineer after she punches Carrie in the face, and she's just like, excuse me, you have B'Elanna Torres on your list here to be our engineer, and she just beat somebody up. But she knows that's the right choice.
Warp particles.
Warp particles, plus there's a lot of sciencing. Yep.
That is such a great episode.
Yeah, that one was close for my list. And then I'm going to give my special shout out. We mentioned it at the top of the show, to Admiral Janeway, seen in Star Trek Nemesis, which was really cool that we got to see her even in a brief cameo right after Voyager ended as an admiral. Super cool. Perfect topic for episode 100 of TrekRanks, and we are now ready for the next 100. But before that, let's get into our regeneration cycle and go through some stats and a quick recap of our picks.
Computer, activate regeneration cycle. Alcoves beta and gamma.
Okay, Charlene, let's hear your 5 picks recapped.
Okay. Number 5 was Night. 4, Macrocosm. 3, Eye of the Needle. 2, Counterpoint. And number 1, Deadlock.
Awesome list. You had 2 from season 5 and 1 each from season 1, 2, and 3. Foz, how about you?
Okay. Number 5, I had Relativity. Number 4, I had 1159. Number 3, I had Resistance. Number 2, Macrocosm. And number 1, in-game parts 1 and 2. Because, of course, I had to go for a 6er instead of a 5er.
That's awesome. Yep, you did get 6 instead of 5. You had 2 from season 5 and 1 each from season 2, 3, and 7. Melanie, how about your list?
Number 5, Phage. Number 4, Resistance. Number 3, Eye of the Needle. Number 2, Deadlock. And number 1, Scorpion parts 1 and 2.
Interesting that all of your picks were from the first 3 seasons. You had 2 from season 1, 2 from season 2, and 1 from season 3 and 4 with Scorpion. And my top 5 was Year of Hell. My number 4 was Good Shepherd. Number 3, Macrocosm. Number 2, Deadlock. And number 1 was The Void. And I spread it around season 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7 all represented. So really quick, we had 2 duplicate picks, or 4, depending on how you count, and 2 triplicates, which is pretty rare, but not unexpected on a character episode. Deadlock and Macrocosm each getting picked 3 times. And then our season breakdown. Every season had at least 1 episode picked, with season 4 and 6 with 1 episode each. Season 7 had 2 episodes. Season 1 had 3 episodes. Season 3 and 5 each had 4. And season 2 led the way with 5 episodes. I guess that's because Deadlock had the triplicate in there. Oh, and then Resistance was a double. So that's really cool. Okay, awesome job. I love those lists and all the ground we were able to cover. But as always, we once again entered a temporal causality loop. So before we can depart, it's time to hit here.
The temporal distortions are fracturing space-time throughout the ship.
Cause?
Unknown. And for this week's temporal causality loop, we're doing a quick roundup of some of the best lists we've received in the last few months. We've been playing a lot of voicemails recently. So we're going to go back and read off a couple of awesome lists, and then we have a very unique temporal incursion to close it out, something we've never done before. But before we get to that, a couple of quick highlights from 3 awesome lists that we've gotten in the past year. First up, at Michael Angie on Twitter sent us a great guy, great follow. He sent us a list of his top 5 Enterprise guilty pleasure episodes, 5 words and a hashtag. Let those sleeping targs lie. Hashtag don't open that door from Sleeping Dogs. Number 4, Porthos doesn't go with onions. He's my pal. A night in sick bay. I love guilty pleasure Enterprise episodes. His number 3, Hoshi learned some new conjugations. Hashtag, I don't know what this is. Avic placer. Maybe that's the word. Anyway, Hoshi speaking in 2 days and 2 nights. 5 words and a hashtag. First of many transporter accidents. Hashtag Quinn flew too close. Daedalus. That is a unique pick. And his number 1, so that's who Chef was. Hashtag Birth of the Federation. These are the Voyagers in reference to Riker. All right, and then next up, I'm going to read off 2 lists from our buddy Ross Webster. He is an amazing wordsmith, and I just felt like this was appropriate for episode 100 because we had Ross on for 1 episode of Trek Ranks, and that's just not good enough. I need to get that guy on more episodes because he is a brilliant wordsmith and the host of the awesome Snap Trek podcast with our friend Eat at Quarks, Jen Tift. So he had 2 amazing lists. Try to follow along here. By the way, it's at Star Trek 1701 with no vowels, the Borg. Ross Webster. Top 5 buzzer beaters. Number 5, charmless alarm, arms causing harm.
Wow.
Hashtag Ducats revolting. It's Ducats warning alarms from Civil Defense. Charmless alarm, arms causing harm. Brilliant. Number 4, despite Despite blacklight, Parasite, Geordie's all right. I need to read these better. Hold on. I need to
say that 10 times fast.
Despite blacklight, Parasite, Geordie's all right. Hashtag flighty morphin Geordie danger. It's Geordie's transformation and identity crisis. Amazing. His number 3 was no fear engineer gets clear. Hashtag door dropping. It's the Geordie maneuver from TNG Generations. No fear engineer gets clear. Brilliant. Number 2, I'm going to say what the episode is first. So it's the Paradise System Syndrome is number 2. It's deflecting the asteroid, and his 5 words in a hashtag. Spock's a protector, deflector, corrector. Hashtag asteroid and obelisk. That is Spock's a protector, deflector, corrector. That is brilliant. Number 1 is from Evolution. It's Stubbs' egg launch, and his 5 words in a hashtag. Nanites writes as star ignites. Hashtag beat egg timer. A brilliant, brilliant list. And then one more. He did his top 5 scenes on Earth, and it's the all UK edition. So it's from episode 93. He picked 5 scenes from Earth, and his first one is from All Good Things. It's Data's Cambridge residence. A Brief History of Time, hashtag learning curve. Number 4 is from Elementary Dear Data, 221B Baker Street, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, hashtag Wolf in the Fold. His number 3 was a brief, I didn't even know this, there's a brief glimpse apparently of Stonehenge in Stormfront Part 2. So No Time Like the Past, hashtag Heart of Stone. Oh, I'm realizing. See, I don't even realize how clever he is. All of his hashtags are episode titles from other Star Treks. So I should have realized that when I was going through my notes. His number 2 is Sherwood Forest from TNG episode Cupid, The Adventures of Robin Hood, hashtag Into the Forest I Go. And his number 1, London Skyline from Star Trek Beyond, 5 words in a hashtag, down and out in London, hashtag city on the edge of forever.
Wow.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And I didn't even realize it until I was halfway through reading it. That's how smart the guy is. Really cool. So thanks for indulging with me. 2 amazing lists from Ross and 1 from our friend Michael Angie. All right. And then we have this cool temporal incursion. This dates back to January of 2020. Our episode number 73 was our top 5 crossover episodes. And that was one of our preview episodes for the Picard series. And that's what this clip that I'm about to play for you is all about. It's a short clip from our guest, Jamie McGregor, in our episode 73, top 5 crossover episodes. He's been on the show a few times. And remember, as you listen to this clip, this is before we knew anything about Star Trek Picard.
Here's my question to you: Is there a member of the Sung family that is yet to be played by Brent Spiner? I think there are a few more relatives out there that are yet to be played, and with the potential for all of the Borg and artificial intelligence playing a part in Picard. Well, who knows? I mean, we know Data's back, so maybe there's another Sung person that could be played in Picard. I wouldn't bet against it.
Yep, it still could happen. I think the only one is his android mom. But so Jamie was right on it, and I thought that was a really cool way to close out 100 episodes of Temporal Causality Loops. It's Jamie McGregor basically predicting that you never know, maybe Brent Spiner will be playing a few more Soong offsprings at some point, and he totally called it on that one, as we were all surprised when Spiner showed up at the end of the series as Alton Inigo Soong, the son of Noonien Soong. So that was a really cool temporal incursion prediction from our friend Jamie McGregor. So 100 temporal causality loops are in the books. And once again, those picks definitely enough to get us clear. So as always, I want to thank everyone for all your great responses to the TrekRanks podcast through the last 4 years. So please keep your list coming to me at TrekRanks on Twitter so we can retweet them. But we also want to hear from you. So put together your own list of top 5 Janeway episodes or a list from any of our 100 past shows and give us a call at the Tricorder Transmissions at 609-512-5527. That's 609-512-LLAP. Hopefully we'll hear from you so you can be featured on the next episode of TrekRanks. And on the next episode of TrekRanks, we are doing a unique topic. It is Trek 101. That's it. That's going to be our, we're going to start off our second 100 with a topic called Trek 101. It's basically going to be an informative episode about Trek, and each guest is going to come on, and their lists are going to be dependent on their own prime directive. So we're going to ask our guests to come up with a prime directive that helps you inform the listener about Trek. So it could be 5 anything you want, 5 things that are important to Trek for me, 5 things I learned from Trek, 5 things I personally love about it or that I use in my life to solve a problem, and something you just want to tell a Trek newbie, anything you want. So it's going to be a little bit of a different topic for us to start off. So the lists are going to be a little more personal, and I think and of course they'll all be highlighted by an episode that helps highlight the topic for you. So because this topic's a little different, I'm just going to throw it out there to the group to see if you guys have anything in your head that you would do if you were doing a Trek 101 topic like that. What would be your prime directive? Anybody got anything quickly off the top of their head? Oh, good, Shar, because I don't even have mine yet. I don't even know what I'm doing. So what do you got, Shar?
Well, the first thing I thought of is Trek 101. What if you are introducing Star Trek to somebody who has no idea what they're getting themselves into? They have no idea barely what Star Trek is. What episodes would you show them that maybe best capture the spirit or the essence of what you think Star Trek is? So one of the very first things I thought of was the city on the edge of forever.
I love that. That's a great one. You want to come on the show? I'm just kidding. Foz, Melanie, you guys have any quick thoughts on that? And if you don't, it's no problem.
There's so much to love about Star Trek. This is a great topic, very thought-provoking. I can't help but think of the original series because that's where, when I think Trek 101, my mind goes to that because that's where I started watching, way back in the day. So for some reason, Man Trap just flew into my mind.
I love it. How about you, Foz?
I got to go with my personal favorite. You probably already know it, Star Trek 2009. And, I remember way back whenever you did the, I don't remember the exact title episode, but when you did the episode of what would you do for a beginner, like
for a newcomer. Yep.
Yeah, for a newcomer. Star Trek 2009 was at the top of my list because I always say it has the best of everything. If you're just sitting there for the first time, it's a great popcorn film, or if you're a fan, it has something for everybody.
Yep, that's true. That's a great way to look at it too. Okay, awesome. I've got a lot to think about to figure out what my prime directive and my list is going to look like for that one. I'm looking forward to it. All right, so to wrap it up here, a huge thanks to Charlene Schmidt, Foz Rotten, and Melanie. Great to have you guys on the show. So before we depart,
I was wondering if you could show me how to access these subspace communications logs.
Any Trek subspace communications you guys want to relay? Shar?
Well, I'll just say, everybody out there, please take care of yourselves. Be safe. Wear your mask. This isn't over. Hunker down. We will get through this.
Hopefully by the time some of you are listening to this, it is over. But that's not now.
I just want to say congratulations on 100 episodes. And
yes,
that's a huge accomplishment. And I was very honored to be a part of it. Want to thank you for all the hard work you put into it, because TrekRanks, I think I speak on behalf of everyone, is such a bright light in the life of us Trekkies.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Jim.
Thanks for saying that. Foz, how about you, man? Oh, make sure let's hear about Boldly Go too.
Well, thank you so much for having me on this episode. Thank you guys for including me in the conversation. This has been such a heartfelt way to end the episode that now I feel bad just shamelessly promoting my project. But I will say this, with all the heart that I was just talking about in this closing, is all the heart I put into this project. This isn't just some stupid, quirky little, I'm going to make some Star Trek songs. This is my band. I've worked my whole life to be in a band like this. And the fact that it's Star Trek and punk rock are just the melding of my two loves and passions in this life. Everything I've ever worked for is on this record. United Federation of Punks out on Coffin Curse Records right now. You can get the vinyl out on CD, out on digital, streaming everywhere. We are Boldly Go. Please check us out.
Boldly Go rocks.
They definitely do. I was going to say, just tell Alexa or Spotify, whatever you listen to play No Win Scenario from Boldly Go. It is a real earworm. It's really, really good stuff, Foz. You guys have crushed it. That song
I love that song.
Is amazing. You guys did a great job. All right. And finally, before I sign off, I just personally want to thank everyone that has listened to this show and interacted with me on Twitter and shared your love of Trek with me. I really, really appreciate that. And it's been an amazing experience for me to put this show together and do it for so long now. When I started it, I always think about this. We were setting up the tech on the back end, and I remember specifically having a discussion with Jeff Hewlett, the founder of the Tricorder Transmissions, and we were setting up our episode count in the system, and he had an option to list it with space for 2 digits or 3 digits to record the episodes. And I was just like, whatever. And he said, no, I'm going to put it in the system with space for 3 digits because I got a good feeling about this for you. And I was thinking about that now that we're hitting into triple digits and into episode 100 and beyond. So
you made it.
Yeah. Of course, now I'm thinking maybe I should have listed it with 4 digits.
Yeah. You're going to have your own Y2K moment.
Yeah, we'll see if we ever get there. Anyway.
You're going to be 85 and doing TrekRanks, Jim.
Exactly. All right. Thanks again to all of you. I really appreciate you engaging with us again here on episode 100 of the TrekRanks podcast. As always, I want to close by saying I'm looking forward to standing with you again here in this place where I belong.
But our primary goal is clear. Even at maximum speeds, it would take 75 years to reach the Federation. But I'm not willing to settle for that. There's another entity like the Caretaker out there somewhere who has the ability to get us there a lot faster. We'll be looking for her. And we'll be looking for wormholes, spatial rifts, or new technologies to help us. Somewhere along this journey, we'll find a way back. Mr. Paris, set a course for home.
Aye, Captain.
Just want to remind everyone again that the entire TrekRanks catalog is available for you to download and listen to at TrekRanks.com and on your podcast player of choice. Our episodes never get carbon dated, so check out the topics you've missed and maybe just want to listen to again over at TrekRanks.com. And a reminder to check out our friends 5-Year Mission at 5yearmission.net. They're writing a song for every episode of Star Trek, and you won't believe how great their music is. They also have a podcast at the Trek Geeks Network, so seek them out. You won't regret it.
Did it.
We're being hailed.
On screen. Sorry to surprise you. Next time we'll call ahead.
Welcome back.
It's good to be here.
How did you...
It'll all be in my report, sir.
I look forward to it.
Thanks for your help, Admiral Janeway.
Sick bay to the bridge. Doctor to Lieutenant Paris. There's someone here who'd like to say hello.
You better get down there, Tom.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chakotay. The helm.
Aye, Captain.
Set a course for home.